Last time on WCW Nitro, DDP got his revenge on Buff Bagwell in a no-holds-barred fight after Buff's disgraceful actions during the tribute show to Kurt Hennig the week prior. The network, that's Lance Storm, Mike Awesome and Cyrus, continued their takeover in advance of their title matches at the Great American Bash. Mike Awesome took on the WCW World Champion Booker T. Booker T was moments away from winning the match before Lance Storm spoiled things, ending the match in a DQ. And as all hope looked lost for Booker with the network attacking, the night ended with a surprise, as Stevie Ray returned to save his old tag team partner Booker T, reuniting Harlem Heat as they stood tall with Nitro going off the air. With alliances forming and tensions rising, the road to the Great American Bash heats up tonight on Nitro. Okay, we're back once again. WCW 2001 and TEW. Been a pretty crazy first few episodes in terms of news and things happening. So we'll see how it goes today. Before we get into it, I want to have a look at some of our roster and see how their popularity is going. Is anyone getting more over? Is anyone climbing the ranks? Anyone need to keep an eye on? So let's take AJ, for example. Yeah, AJ's made a big jump. He's on 10s and 15. 10s across the board pretty much. And he's on 22s, 24s. So he's getting up there quick. Very quick. That's good to see. Who else are we looking? Booker T. Yeah, Booker's up as well, 70. When we started the save, and now he's on 77, 76, 74. This is great stuff. We're growing. Buff Bagwell's getting more over as well, which is good. His form has been killing him in his matches and his angles, but we've been using him a lot because the stories work well for him. And the way it's booked at the moment, I think he suits them. So hopefully his form turns around. Thanks to the comment in the last video who let me know that it could take weeks, if not months, before it turns around. So if it does take months, maybe Buff will go on a bit of a forced vacation. Who else have we got here? Let's check out Punk, because obviously he's just been on the pre-show. Okay, yes, no real change there. That's fine. I wasn't sure if pre-show affected popularity. I guess it does in a tiny way, but not major. Cyrus, 25, 25. Yeah, he's not really getting more popular. It's a bit of an issue for us, as he's obviously the mouthpiece for the network, Lance Storm, Mike Awesome. And he's good on the mic. Yeah, 80 mic skills, 75 acting. He's good at it, but he's just not over enough, and it's hurting his segments. So, I don't know. How do I get a manager over? Any advice, any tips? I know you can do it in storylines and angles, I suppose. So, maybe we'll start doing that, trying to get a bit more popularity for Cyrus. Because once he's popular, I think he'll be a great member of the roster. But yeah, at the moment, he's just not over enough. Maybe we'll try him in New York in the tri-state. He's a bit more over there. So maybe we'll do that today. We'll do that today. We'll have our first show in the tri-state arena, maybe. I think it's our first show. Maybe we've been there already. DDP up slightly. 75s to 76, 77. It's not as much as a jump as some of the others like AJ and Booker T. AJ makes sense though, because I suppose he's gone from not really being featured on TV at all to winning weekly. But Booker T is leapfrogging DDP a bit, I suppose. Which makes sense. DDP's US champion, Booker's world champ. Who else we got? We've so many people still to debut. Good God. Overwhelming. I probably hired too much. But I mean, look, I think we're going to find a lot of interesting characters and angles and feuds down the line once everyone's kind of rolling and rotating in and out. Kind of booked like Tony Khan books AEW, I think, where it just has this huge roster and people kind of have, 4 months on, 2 months off kind of thing, where they'll pop up, they'll be heavily featured, and then they might just disappear for a while, which isn't the greatest thing in the world, but I mean, it's a good way to get everyone on TV, and it kind of keeps the shows fresh, I suppose, is the idea. Who else we want to take a look at here? Lance Storm. Not more over at all, which is not good, as he's facing Booker T for the World Championship at the next pay-per-view. And Mike Awesome, same. So it looks like Mike Awesome and Lance Storm could do with a bit of a good showing on this Nitro. on the next show and next week's show again, the go home coming into the pay per view. We want them to look like threats, and we want them, be a bit more over, really. Warm momentum. Yeah, they could do with getting a few more wins under their belt. RVD, let's have a look. Yeah, he's growing. 55, 45s, 60s. Actually down in the tri-state, but he's... Oh no, sorry, I'm getting mixed up. He's more over everywhere, which is good. He's been killing it. Every show he's been on, every match he's had has been great. What about Shane O'Mac? Hasn't changed, which is fine. Like I said, it's on the first episode. I don't really want the show to revolve around Shane. I don't want it to be like... You can feature now and again, but I don't want it to be the McMahon show. Because, I mean, the whole point of WCW is that you're not watching the WWF. Especially in 2001, where it's very much the McMahon show every week. Is there anyone else? No, I think that's the kind of core of people been using this first month. So yeah, that's good though. AJ Styles, very happy with how he's growing. And Booker is good as well. Okay, good to know. Let's have a look at our what creative is saying. Franchise players, Booker T, Shane O'Mac. Yep, fair enough. I'm surprised DDP's not there. Next big things, Helms, Mojo, Kid Romeo, who I haven't used at all, but they're suggesting him, maybe I might start doing that. Punk, I'm sure he's going to come into things eventually. Once he gets a bit more ring time. Samoa Joe as well, same thing. It'll take a while to get them over, but we know what they turn out to be, so worth using. They're probably the next generation of WCW. Hot prospects. What's the difference between hot prospects and next big things? Likely to be future superstars, WCW. Okay, so these are the future top guys. They should be handled with care. Interesting. Then hot prospects are just, they can do well. They don't necessarily have to be main eventers. That's interesting. Shane Helms, though. Good to know. Booker's our best promo. DDP's second. Dusty Rhodes we're not using yet, and he'll come into it. Jerry Lawler we use him for the commentary. And Buff Bagwell, I didn't realise he was such a good promo. He will be getting some promo time soon, so that's good stuff. Yeah, nothing surprising there. RVD's our best worker. Booker second, DDP. So that's pretty good because in the last Nitro, we'll do a quick recap in a bit, but in the last Nitro, a little bit of a feud started between Canyon and RVD. Canyon attacked RVD after the match. So we've got our number 1 and number 4 best workers. Probably going to have a match at the pay-per-view. And our number 2 and number 5 best workers are going to have a match at the pay-per-view. So that works out well. I'm doing this by accident nearly. Ring generals. Yep, pretty good. Who's hot? Sean O'Hare and Palumbo are still hot. They will be coming back in soon. The tag divisions kind of had a, how would you say, it's kind of been put on ice for a bit. Just for this pay-per-view cycle, as obviously Mike Awesome and Lance Storm, who are the tag champs, are kind of caught up in the world title and US title matches. So tag title scene will be back. But there'll be more of a focus on it, I'd say, soon enough. And yeah, Palumbo and O'Hare, they're still a jewelry match, or they kind of just got tossed to the side after the first show. But I haven't forgotten about them at all. Jerry Lawler is not hot at the moment. Good to know. I didn't realize he was a heel at the moment. He's not supposed to be. I'll turn him. That makes sense why him and Buff Bagwell's match did not do well on the first Nitro, so it was heel versus heel. Good to know. We should probably sign Cena. I thought I'd already signed Cena. No, I guess not. Sign him up. Be mad not to. Exclusive written. I learned my lesson. Well, I haven't actually learned my lesson. Nothing's come back to haunt me yet, but we'll just do a year. Again, is there room for him? Do we have plans for him? No, but look, can't hurt. Can't hurt to have John Cena on the show, especially if he turns out to be what he ends up being in real life. I was going to say a few more things I want to do before I get into the show. Normally I just get straight into the show, but I want to have a look. Our finances are doing well, very well, after the success of the Big Bang. So I mean, like, we've made $3 million this month. We have $8 million. we could probably afford to boost some things. You know what? Let's upgrade this, the live event experience, to 5 out of 5. Upgrade would involve a fee of $5,000. That's fine. Once upgraded, your cost would be $100,000 per month, plus $25,000 per night of shows. It would be expensive. I don't think I will do that just yet. Maybe we'll just leave this for now until we're a bit of a bigger company. We're still a lot small enough. Yeah, we're medium, so I mean, there's no real need to worry about that just yet. So we need to get to 77 popularity across the US, and we're on 66s across the board, basically, and a 275. So we've got a bit more work to do. Oh, it's only Eastern USA, so the Great Lakes. So 1, Mid Atlantic, nearly there. New England. So 1, 2, Southeast, nearly there. We're actually pretty close. Okay. We're closer than I thought. So that's good to know. All right. Let's see. 2 Dope is fighting with Vampiro. Doesn't look like there's any major news that I can make out. No, nothing particular, which is good. No tornadoes, no deaths. We'll take that. Just a nice, calm week. All right, let's. Oh, we're still 3 days out from Nitro. Let's skip ahead again. So, if anyone has any tips or advice, I feel like I'm just kind of doing the show, going to the next show, doing the show, going to the next show. I know there's more to be done, and there's things I could be doing to set me up better. Anyone has any suggestions or ideas, things I should be doing in between shows that maybe I'm not doing, let me know in the comments, and I'll start doing that. Or things you want to see me look up. Hot property. In a move that will no doubt boost his reputation, Randy Orton was singled out by some industry insiders as one to watch. Is Randy signed? Yes, he's signed exclusively. Damn. That'd have been good. But yeah, if anyone has any suggestions, things I should be doing every week, let me know in the comments. And also, I saw there was a comment on the last video, I think it was. A comment I got during the week anyway, about setting up a B show to give more ring time to, this younger talent and the lesser known talent. That is definitely an idea I have for the future, and probably pretty soon. But we're just going to do a month or two of Nitro pay-per-view, get the show kind of rolling first, and then I'm going to look to do that, and we'll start growing the less known talent on the roster that way. With just an easy, simple 1 hour B show, 3 matches, a few promos, something like that. Nothing major. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into the booking of tonight's Nitro, the third Nitro. And we're going to run it from the Tri-State Arena. 5,140 fans expected. Is there any arenas that are just over 500 or 5,000? 4,750? Yeah, let's go with that. Oh, again, I say this every episode. I always like selling out the arena if I can. I don't know if it's still a thing in TEW. I know it used to be. The more you sold out in a row, the better for your company's momentum. Don't know if that's still a thing, but still work that way anyway. And it makes sense. It's what you do in real life. You want to pack a small venue rather than have 10,000 empty seats, especially on TV. So we are running, where's this? The Stuart C. Siegel Centre, or the Cambria County War Memorial Arena. We'll run it. Booking team meeting. Let's get some finishes. Big gamble. Nope. Bit of a gamble. Nope. All right. Not a very successful booking team meeting. Oh, near certainty for DDP. Or DDP winning. That is good. Good to have. Stacey Keebler seems to be causing so much trouble every week. Might have to think about taking her out of that role as morale officer. Although it's normally like the needy, prickly, those type of people seem to be having an issue because she's so chatty and bubbly, I assume. It would wreck your head, wouldn't it? RVD brightened the backstage area by being so cheerful and fun to be around. That's good stuff. Keep it up. Jerry Lawler has taken Samoa Joe under his wing. Huh. That's pretty cool. And that's something we might come back to. Maybe on air. Simple show, no problems. Or simple pre-show, no problems. It's getting a bit easier. I'm not going to do anything again. Actually, same as last week. Let's not rock the boat. Let's not risk anything. Okay, I'm going to work. Oh, hold on here now. Dusty Rhodes isn't here. Dutch Mantel isn't here. Yeah, like I said last week, Dutch Mantel is going to be missing every Nitro. And I did actually want to bring him in at some stage. So need to have a think about that. See if we can work something out there. All right, so I'm going to book the show. And I'll be back to you in a moment. All right, and we are kicking things off. 4,651 people in attendance, below the sellout that I was hoping for, but sure, look, it's okay. As usual, doing a pre-show match with some of the younger guys. Well, one of the younger guys anyway. Just seeing what they're rated like, how they're getting on, who can maybe make the jump up quicker. Colt Cabana versus Elix Skipper. Elix Skipper with the win in 10 minutes. Not the worst. Cole still has a bit to go, but look, he's young. So, yep, totally fine pre-show match. Then we had a bit of a weird one. I just tried to get as many people in as I could. Jack Evans teamed up with Mark Jindrak to take on Paul London and the Prototype, John Cena. And about that had terrible wrestling and non-existent crowd heat. Jack Evans and Mark Jindrak got the win. So yeah, not great from anyone really, although Cena's gimmick is good, Jack Evans' gimmick is good or great. Not great performances for anyone. Mark Jindrak got the best rating. He's probably the most well-known guy in WCW at the time, so makes sense. But yeah, no real standouts there. A lot of work still to do for this lot. All right, so into the show itself. We kick things off with a cruiserweight match. AJ Styles versus Chavo Guerrero Jr. In this match, so as we know over the last few weeks, AJ has been kind of friendly with Shane Helms. Shane Helms is kind of by his side and very impressed with what he's been doing. He's won 2 matches on the bounce. Bit of a tougher opponent here as he took on Chavo Guerrero. And unfortunately, Chavo beat AJ, apologies, after 11 minutes with a tornado DDT after a distraction from Shane Helms. So what happened here is Shane Helms is ringside accompanying AJ. Chavo Guerrero does something dastardly. Maybe tries to pull AJ's tights during a roll-up or something like that. Shane Helms isn't having it. He hops up on the apron, trying to get the referee's attention. You know? As he's doing this, he gets the ref's attention, but he also distracts AJ. And AJ is trying to work out what's going on. Why is he up on the apron? What's going on? Then, as all this is going on, AJ turns around into the tornado DDT, like we said, and that is the pinfall. So Shane Helms inadvertently costing AJ the match. 60 rating, not bad. Chavo to 62, AJ 51, totally fine. After the match then, Shane Helms, as he's been doing, goes to chat to AJ after the match. He goes to console him and apologize for distracting him. AJ is not having it though. He's furious. He slaps Shane's hand away. Tries to calm things down, but AJ pushes Shane Helms down and leaves in a huff. Helms sits in the ring, shaking his head, obviously a bit embarrassed about the whole situation, as AJ storms down the ramp. So, looks like this friendship is already in trouble. Just a 42 rating. Neither of them are the greatest in angles. I know, and neither of them that over, so that's fine. But look, not the worst. And we cut to Jerry and Tony as they're welcoming us to the show officially. Tony kicks it off. He says, well, folks, we've already kicked things off with some cruiserweight action, and it's looking like the short-lived friendship between Shane Helms and AJ Styles is already on the rocks. Jerry then says, that's right, Tony. Like they always say, keep your friends close, but your enemies closer, especially in the wrestling business. Right you are, Jerry. And folks, we've just been informed that our CEO, Shane McMahon, is waiting to speak to us backstage with some news about our main event. Take it away, Shane. Great rating for this, considering what it is. Always handy to just have these lads to kind of be the barrier or be the link between segments and to just cut to them before moving on to the next. Very handy that their ratings do well. I think it's mostly Jerry I don't think Tony's ratings for microphone or charisma or anything like that are great, but Jerry's are really good. So good stuff. The crowd is white hot at the end of this angle. We're going in hot, although the first two segments weren't great. So we then go backstage to Shane O'Mac. Shane O'Mac is backstage. He says, "Thanks, Tony. Over the last few weeks, Cyrus and the network have been running wild like they own the show. I was happy to oblige their title contracts for the Great American Bash. I don't, however, appreciate their talk of running WCW and Lance Storm ruining last week's main event between Booker T and Mike Awesome. And while I may not have been thrilled to see Stevie Ray hopping the guardrail last week and getting involved, I gotta admit, I got a kick out of it. And so, I'd like to officially welcome Stevie to the WCW roster. And tonight, in our main event, it's going to be the network versus the reunited Harlem Heat. And Cyrus, could you let your boys know that that's going to be for the WCW Tag Team Championships? And if the network aren't happy with that, have them contact my lawyers." Shane then winks. So, Shane getting a bit of a revenge for the network who've kind of been running roughshod over the show, inserting themselves in the title matches and ruining main events and so on and so forth. So, makes sense with the angle at the end of last week's show with Stevie Ray coming back to help out Booker. So our main event's going to be the network versus Harlem Heat. And it's going to be for the network's tag team titles. So we'll see how that goes. An 80 rating, good stuff. Segments are better commentary, that's fine. And two storylines advanced with this one. Shane McMahon's story, which is him and Buff and people he's connected with, and the Booker versus the World storyline, which is Booker, the network, and DDP. So good stuff. We're doing well so far. In the next match, Canyon took on Hugh Morris, and Canyon beat him in 10 minutes. Just a match to get a win under Canyon's belt. Not the greatest match, 67 rating, but look, it's hardly 2 stars in the program or in the promotion. Canyon normally does better. I had zero plans for Hugh Morris. I think I'm just going to beat him until it's time to go for him. But look, 67 is not the worst. Getting a win for Canyon after last week he made his appearance. Laying out RVD, who'd been on a bit of a hot streak. So look, he's making a claim himself to being one of the top talents in the company. After the match, he grabs a microphone. He stands in the center of the ring with the mic in his hand, and he's about to say his catchphrase. He's about to announce, "Who better than Can Bang?" RVD attacks. The two of them brawl in the ring, rolling around, punching each other, trying to get a hold of each other, until security comes down and has to separate them both. Chaos in the ring as we cut to commercial then. So yeah, keeping that feud going, keeping that feud alive. RVD is here, storyline is advanced and gained heat, which is good. Crowd is very hot, and a 72 rating, which is pretty good for just a simple little brawl. So yeah, looking like this match is probably going to be happening at the pay-per-view, you would have to imagine. Next up, Joey Styles is standing by with the Harlem Heat backstage. Booker takes the mic and he says, "Lance Storm, Mike Awesome, Cyrus, you're in real trouble now. You could have kept this a fair fight, man to man. Could have done just Booker T versus Lance Storm at the pay-per-view, but you want to play the numbers game. Well, that's fine by me, because like you found out last week, I've got some backup." Stevie Ray then takes the mic and he says, "Network, you boys are running around doing the dirty work for Cyrus, getting title shots with contracts. Well, tonight, me and Booker are going to show you what a real team looks like." Booker then, of course, caps it off by saying, "Can you dig that?" So a 70 rating, not bad. Lost a bit of heat in the storyline, but I think the storyline is flying it, so I'm not too concerned about that. And yeah, Cyrus, Lance, and Mike Awesome obviously not appearing in the segment, just being called out, just setting up the main event, bit of hype. Next up, then we cut straight from that interview to the back. Cyrus is flanked by the network boys somewhere in the building. He says, "Shane, you want to mess around with the network? You want to mess around with our titles on my show? Well, two can play that game. You might need to cancel that next match you had planned." Cyrus then motions to the network and we reveal that they're just outside DDP's locker room. Cyrus, Lance Storm, Mike Awesome go into the locker room. They close the door behind them and we hear fighting and destruction inside. So not boding well for DDP. And it looks like the network They're not going to just, take their tag titles being put on the line, lying down. They're not going to take Shane being the real boss lying down. And it's looking like the whole show and everyone around is going to suffer because of it. Cyrus is getting better as a gimmick, which is good, like we said. And a 59 rating. Like I said, it's a killer that he's so not over. I think we'd be doing a lot better if he was, but bit by bit, we'll get him there. We then go back to the commentary team, back to the broadcast booth. That is despicable from the network, says Tony. Jerry says, we need to get some help back there. Well, folks, I can tell you we were set to see DDP in action against Kid Romeo, but it's looking like that's not going to happen now. Oh, hang on a second, folks. I'm getting word that Kid Romeo is going to be taking on a new opponent. And you're kidding me. A debut? Someone new? Jerry says, who is it, Tony? Folks, we'll be right back after the break and we'll find out who it's going to be. So yeah, it looks like DDP was going to be in action next. Network caught wind of this and, tried to put a spanner in the works on the show as a bit of payback for them being put into the tag title match later on. But it looks like Shane has adapted and we've got someone new ready to take on Kid Romeo instead. So we cut back from the break. Kid Romeo's in the ring waiting. And out comes Conan. Conan comes out. He's back. About that had decent reaction. Terrible wrestling. Conan beat Kid Romeo in 10 minutes with a tequila sunrise. Not good performance from Conan. Conan is penalized due to the effects of going through personal issues. Oh, not ideal. Oh, that's a killer. 45 rating. Kid Romeo with a 39. Conan with a 43. Great gimmick, though. Oh, that's a shame. I don't know how much I'm going to be using them, so for the next few weeks, this might have been a bit of a one and done. Look, another name on the roster that we can go to, and we'll see how it goes. That is a killer, though. Oh, that's tough. After the match, then, Conan grabs a mic. He says, let me speak on this. You just never know who's going to turn up in WCW. Conan again, penalized due to the effects of personal issues. Damn. damn. 56 rating. Not a disaster, though, but those two segments have definitely hurt us. Next up, we have the main event. And about the good wrestling, decent reaction of the crowd, the network picked up the win after 15 minutes with Lance Storm submitting Stevie Ray with a single leg Boston Crab. That makes defense number one of their tag titles. In terms of in-ring work, Booker was head and shoulders above everyone else. Not a shock. He got a 90, which is unbelievable. Stevie Ray, the worst guy in the match. I'm not surprised. I didn't think he'd be doing too well. Stevie was off his game, but Stevie and Booker got a tag team specialist bonus, and they showed excellent chemistry. So it looks like when they're in a match together, Stevie's not going to do much, but him being there boosts Booker T in a big way. Look at that, all the green. So yeah, look. Do you think maybe Harlem Heat? They haven't teamed for a while. They've feuded in the past. It's been a while since they were tagging together. And look, the network, they are the tag champions for a reason. Even though Cyrus has been helping them. Mike Awesome and Lance Storm, our team, Team Canada, of course. And you want them looking strong going into the pay-per-view. So, just a simple win for them with Lance Storm tapping out Stevie Ray. After the match then, Lance Storm refuses to let go of the sharpshooter on Stevie Ray, or the single leg, Boston Crab, I suppose. The bell continues to ring as Stevie passes out from the pain. Mike Awesome and Cyrus are holding Booker T as he desperately tries to escape, but he's still suffering from the effects of a low blow from Cyrus, just as the match ended and a beatdown began. Just as all hope is looking lost, DDP lurches down to the ring. He's clearly still hurt, but just like last week before the Buff Bagwell match, he's wheeling a shopping cart full of weapons. He hits the ring like a madman, swinging kendo sticks and chairs, and the network just about escape. DDP and Booker tend to Stevie Ray as the network pose on the stage with their titles and we go off the air. Cyrus underperformed and it killed the segment. That is a shame. Maybe I'm leaning on him too much, so maybe after Great American Bash we might pull back a bit on the networks. How much the network are involved. Although it's a shame. Because I think it makes sense. It all makes sense, but it's just they're not over enough, or Cyrus isn't over enough. They look good in this show, though. They took out DDP early, had a promo, won that match. and then got away pretty unscathed. So not the best night for Booker and Booker and DDP. Good night for the network. But that is the show. Let's see our rating. I have no idea what we got there. Could be a 60, could be a 70. Don't think it's much higher than that. 73. Stevie Ray was used too much, and Mike Awesome was used too much 2 weeks in a row. Right. 2 segments or 3 segments is too much, Mike Awesome. Good to know. A 73 rating, though, that's not bad. That will help us. It should help us in the US, like it says, increase our popularity in 8 regions. So we'll see how that's done. I'm happy enough with that, though. 73 is fine. Not a home run like last week, but look, could have been worse. We had a few problems there. Too much network is one thing, and the Conan issues, which is good to know. Well, at least we've learned that. Financial report, $204,000 again coming in. Happy with that. Keeps on rolling in. Let's check out our popularity. Yeah, so we grew. I'm happy with that. We went down in the Southeast and Mid-Atlantic, but I mean, we only need to get to 77 there. So I mean, going to 75 is fine. I'm happy enough with that. And look, getting 67 most of those places, that's good. We'll be what's after medium? Big? Is that the next size? We'll be big in no time. Happy with that. Let's see if there's any news before we wrap up today's episode. Not looking like it. Batista and Sean Casey had an enormous bust up. I'm not sure who Sean Casey is. Double C is Claudio. Let's see. Can I see his match history? I think he hasn't had a match yet. I'll keep an eye on him. And Claudio. I know it's a while before he comes into his own, but could be a good worker to have. Oh, Mike Awesome. My God. Mike Awesome seems to be manipulating the locker room against Joey Styles. Nick Patrick and Joey Styles were seen arguing. Okay. Now he's turned Jack Evans against him. He's turned Canyon against him. He's turned Hugh Morris against him. He is trouble. He's not really performing that well either, so there could be some changes coming. I like Mike Awesome a lot in real life, but him and Joey Styles is causing chaos. I mean, let's see his match history so far. Where do we do that? Match history, there it is. He had a good 57. He was fine. He had a good main event with Booker T, but it was mostly Booker. 54. I mean, he's not worth the trouble he's causing, for sure. I have to have a think about what I'm going to do with the network and Mike Awesome. Yeah, I need to have a think about what I'm going to do about that. I mean, I think that was a pretty successful show, though, in the grand scheme of things. I think more people got over. We're more popular. Most places. Look, we're getting there bit by bit. What's it like backstage? Morale is still good. Openly hostile. Is there anything we can do? Look, it's definitely not perfect. We've got some work to do to try fix that. We'll do that in the next episode. See what we can come up with. If anyone has any suggestions, any ideas of how I can deal with the Mike Awesome issue, how I can get Cyrus performing better, what do I do with Conan, what do I do with Buff Bagwell? He wasn't on that show after getting beaten by DDP, but he's not performing well either. So I don't know. Maybe I just went with the wrong guys for the first month. Although again, it's going fine. It's just it really annoys me. Things are going sometimes badly or that are out of my control. So look, we'll fix it all though. We'll get it sorted once we're up and running. So yeah, thanks for watching everyone. Thanks for everyone commenting and liking, subscribing, all that stuff. Again, if you have any suggestions, any advice, let me know. Any feedback on the storylines, anything you'd like to see, leave a comment, let me know. Chat to you next week. Good luck.